What makes this new moon significant? Welcome to the Planetary Outlook. This is about May's new moon, and there is a lot to unpack. Let's get started. On May 16th, 4:02 p.m. Eastern Time, we experienced the first supermoon of 2026, and it is not an ordinary moon. A supermoon occurs when the moon reaches its closest point to Earth, known as perigee, at the same time as either a new moon or full moon. Because the moon is physically closer to the Earth during this alignment, its gravitational and energetic influence is stronger and more amplified than an ordinary action. This Taurus super new moon begins a sequence of super new moons that will continue through June and July, followed later in the year by two super full moons in November and December. But what makes this lunation especially important is not just its supermoon status. This new moon forms the first major square to the February Aquarian new moon eclipse degree. This is a reactivation point. Squares create tension, movement, turning points, and obstacles that force growth and change. A time where the energy can no longer remain dormant and must begin manifesting through events, decisions, realizations, and shifting circumstances. Something that began under the February Aquarian eclipse is now reaching a critical turning point. This planetary energy is moving. What has previously been developing beneath the surface now requires an adjustment, response, action, or reevaluation. And this new moon falls at the midpoint between the February Aquarian eclipse and the upcoming Leo new moon eclipse in August. Pay attention to what is unfolding now. The energy of the August Leo eclipse is already beginning to emerge, especially since the next three new moons, May, June, and July, are all supermoons leading directly into that eclipse portal. The next 3 months will prove to be deeply transformational. May's new moon is powerful in its own right. The sun and moon unite in Taurus alongside Mercury, bringing focus toward communication, information, finances, resources, values, and practical reality. Something will now be revealed and brought sharply into focus. Mercury is combust, the sun, sitting deep within the solar rays. Combustion is generally considered a hidden or weakened condition of the planetary energy of the planet combust the sun. With Mercury combust, communication and information processing may become highly internalized or difficult to separate from emotion, ego, and personal perspective. This creates mental pressure, information overload, and situations where facts remain partially obscured until later in the lunar cycle. Mercury combust does not always deny information, but it can make clarity more difficult to fully access in the moment. Uranus is also combust the sun. This is especially important because Uranus rules the February Aquarian eclipse that is now being reactivated by the Taurus super new moon. Combust Uranus symbolizes instability, awakening, disruption, and rapidly changing conditions operating beneath the visible surface before fully emerging into awareness. Unexpected developments may emerge suddenly, but the full implications may not be immediately understood. One of the most important details involves Uranus. At the time of the February Aquarian eclipse, Uranus, the ruler of the eclipse, was still in Taurus. But now, Uranus has entered Gemini. This is extremely significant because the ruler of the eclipse has changed signs just prior to the eclipse degree reactivation. In Taurus, Uranus disrupted the material world through money, resources, and possessions. But in Gemini, the instability shifts into the mental world through communication, technology, and transportation. The messenger has changed. And because of that, the story itself begins changing form. The May super new moon does not reactivate the February Aquarian eclipse under the same conditions in which it originally began. The environment has shifted. The narrative is evolving, and the speed of events may now increase dramatically. And because Uranus operates like a lightning strike, developments connected to this cycle will unfold very quickly. This creates an intensely electric, mentally charged atmosphere. There is also tremendous depth operating beneath the visible surface of this new moon. The super-new moon is activating a much larger background cycle that will continue unfolding for years to come between the outermost planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Mercury and Uranus are both sextile Neptune, creating an atmosphere that becomes highly intuitive, creative, and psychologically charged. You may already be sensing that something larger is unfolding beneath the surface, even if you can't fully explain it. The new moon, Mercury, and Uranus are trine to Pluto in Aquarius. This suggests the transformation occurring psychologically, collectively, and systematically beneath visible events. Pluto rarely works on the surface. Its effects unfold gradually through deep restructuring. And with Pluto in Aquarius, this involves collective systems, technology, social structures, and shifts within the public consciousness itself. The new moon and Mercury are also sextile to Jupiter in Cancer. This creates themes involving growth, expansion, and opportunities related to housing, travel, goods, and services. At the same time, the new moon forms a semi-square to Saturn in Aries, creating tension between desire and limitation, between what we want and what we may realistically be able to attain at this time. Now let's look at the dispositor pattern. The Sun, Moon, and Mercury are all in Taurus, ruled by Venus, placing Venus at the center of the new moon dynamic. Venus is in Gemini, shifting attention towards communication, dual perspectives, negotiations, relationships, and the exchange of information. Venus is applying towards a sextile with Mars in Aries, bringing momentum, initiative, attraction, movement, and the desire to act. But with Venus applying toward a square with Neptune, things become far less clear. Neptune can blur perception. It creates illusion, idealization, and a situation where things are not entirely what they appear to be. With Neptune in Aries, the confusion revolves around action itself. Who acts, why they act, what motivates them, and whether actions are truly aligned with reality. So overall, the Taurus super new moon marks a major turning point within the larger eclipse cycle of 2026. This is not simply a quiet Taurus new moon focused on comfort and stability. This is a reactivation point, a threshold moment, a point where the narrative begins changing shape. The eclipse ruler has changed signs, and because of that, the story itself may now unfold very differently than expected. I'm Sky Reader Sherry, and this has been your Planetary Outlook. Let the sky be your guide.